Back with us now from the Federalist, it is senior legal correspondent Margot Cleveland. Margot, it's great to have you back on. You know, Margot, what did you make of this? President Biden's sister, Valerie, pretty much, she said on CNN Plus that there are issues. She indicated that there might be issues and problems with the Biden family's business deals overseas, saying, quote, hindsight is everything. What's your take on that comment?
Ridiculous. Hindsight is everything. They knew what they were doing. This was the family making money off of Joe Biden's long political career. And to claim it was hindsight was just ridiculous. And why is she out there anyway? Why isn't the media asking President Biden these questions? Why isn't the media asking the Attorney General what they're doing? The evidence that Joe Biden was involved in the pay-to-play with Hunter is pretty clear, and we don't even know a tenth or 100th of what's been going on.
Yeah, that's right. That's tip of the iceberg stuff, right? I mean, we have indications out of the emails and text messages that CNN, the Washington Post, the New York Times, those latter two say they've authenticated. You know, we've got a federal prosecutor weighing charges on whether to indict Hunter Biden, or maybe tax fraud, money laundering, violating foreign lobbying laws. But there's new information coming out, reports from Just the News, that 2010 emails show that Hunter Biden and a partner at his Rosemont Seneca firm helped out on Joe Biden's tax returns, that they were trying to divert Joe Biden's state tax return out of Delaware, his state tax refund, to give it to Hunter Biden to pay off Joe Biden's debts and expenses that, that Hunter covered. So the financial entanglement seems deeper than we know.
Exactly. Before the election, though, we knew enough for these questions to be asked. We didn't need the elite media to say, oh, it's been authenticated. We had a business partner of Hunter Biden authenticating that this 10% for the big guy was talking about now President Joe Biden. But like you said, we have more and more evidence coming out that there was an entanglement, there was a repayment. The question I have is how much wasn't repaid? How much was going from Hunter or from Joe's brother covering what the president had as his, lush living expenses?
And Margot, how did President Obama allow this? How did Obama allow Hunter Biden flying nearly 24 times on Air Force Two with Secret Service security detail to do business deals overseas? I mean, there's that. And by the way, this is the debate that's going on. It's speculation right now. It's this, that the far left Democrats are leaking and they're talking to the media to push aside Joe Biden for a candidate the far left wants that will answer to their agenda and not America. So that's what's going on, too, that there's speculation about possible replacements for Biden. People say no to the vice president, but more and more of that debate is coming up. There's that going on, too. Let's listen to Senator Ron Johnson saying Congress should first dig into Hunter Biden. No to a special counsel, because if you get a special counsel, that would block a congressional probe. Watch this.
What happens now is the Justice Department starts a criminal investigation, and then Congress, which means the American public, get no information whatsoever, even though that information is crucial for the electorate to determine whether or not they want to vote for somebody. You've seen the polls. Had the American public known the corruption of Biden, Inc., of Hunter Biden, the big guy, Joe Biden would not be president. My guess, we probably wouldn't see Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine. The actions taken, the corruption of the complicit media and elements within our law enforcement and intelligence agencies have had a incredible serious impact on our politics, on elections. They interfered in our elections to a far greater extent than anything Russia ever could have hoped to achieve.
Whoa, heavy-hitting stuff. What do you think, Margot?
I think he's spot on a lot of things. On the special counsel, I'm not sure where I'd come down on that. I don't think you can have the Biden administration investigating itself. But right now they're going forward with Hunter Biden. But the bigger point is the intelligence community. Those people who came out and said this is Russia disinformation before the election, they should lose all credibility. People should be pointing at them because we now have a national security interest because of who's in the White House.
Got it. Margot Cleveland, thanks for joining us. It's good to see you.